105.53. Okay, let's get fired.
Okay.
Where do you want to start?
Let's recap what's going on in the world. So we started off light. Let's go a little bit heavier here. So we had the Japanese market this morning, last night, whatever the fuck it was imploding, and this is all because the Bank of Japan decided to recently increase rates. And why is this happening? This is from what I gather. People correct me, you too, Joey. People were short the yen and long US dollar slash.
Kinda. So this is something called the carry trade. I tried to learn about this today. I don't know. To me, it just sounds like the Japanese interest rate is zero, right?
No. It was negative for years.
Right. So the money was free. And so you borrow in yen, you change the currency to US dollars, let's say, and you invest in US equities, other stuff.
And then money comes flowing in.
The money's free. The problem is that when you're levered to the tits on the carry trade, to the tune of, some people are saying $20 trillion are out there floating around on this trade between the Japanese government and other people and other entities, whatever. 20 trillion. Is that a lot? I don't know. Someone talk to me. Is that a lot? Will that fit on the block clock? I doubt it. And so the point is that they raised rates, I guess, somewhat unexpectedly last week, a quarter point.
But twice this year, Joey.
Yeah.
Twice this year they've raised rates.
Once to zero.
It's slightly above zero.
Yeah.
And then, so it went for years being negative to then being, it's not negative. It's no longer basically risk-free, as Raoul Paul would say. There's now risk involved, and shit starts to unwind, right? Like, how many fucking times have I said that Japan was the canary in a coal mine? Yeah. What did I say? 2 dozen? I've said it enough times.
Do you know?
This is fucking it.
I know.
This is the fucking canary.
I want to give you your flowers. I said this to Mark yesterday too. You know who Jeff Gunlock is? The Bond King, as Mark reminded me.
I've heard that name before.
Do you know what he mentioned on MSNBC or CNBC, I guess, their financial arm there, after the Jerome Powell address last week, the interest rate announcement last week? Do you know what he mentioned in terms of not believing the economy was as good as Powell was saying?
No.
Food bank lines.
So
you've been talking about food bank lines on this show for like a year and a half, saying that like you just can't fake this. The lines are growing. More people are using food banks. Yeah, you can't fake it.
And it's a visual.
Yeah, that's what he said too. That's what he said too. He's like, everyone can see this. Everyone knows this is happening, and you can't bury it in like hedonic adjustments. If you're in line for the food bank, you're in line for the food bank. That's it. That's all. So kudos to you on that. But anyway, yeah, go ahead.
All roads lead to land. People that want to walk it, great. People that don't, fuck you. Eventually you will. So let's move on, because what's happened with Japan, the disease is now spreading to other markets.
Yeah.
How the fuck Warren Buffett knew and acted upon this beforehand? He's either a fucking miracle worker and an oracle, as people call him, or had some inside information. I don't fucking know, but something seems a little suspect over there. Either way, fuck him.
Are you convinced that the Japan thing has been the cause of all this other meltdown stuff? Like, I don't really know. I was talking to Alex from Bull Bitcoin today about this a little bit, along with the other Bull Bitcoin guys and some other chats I'm in. Everyone seems to say it's that, but is it that? Is that the problem? Like, yen?
You could really go further back to 1971, probably to say this is it, right? Okay. So, but it's like people are blaming when Ferdinand was shot, and that's the reason why they went to war in World War I. Well, there's a whole bunch of other reasons too that brought them to this point. So that may have been the powder keg that went off, but you can't dispel everything that went up until then. So the same thing with this. This might be the powder keg that just fucking goes off, but a lot of dominoes were lined up perfectly beforehand, and you can't.
It's like it's that domino meme, right? Like going off the gold standard, yen imploding on the other.
That's really
bad. It's bad.
Iran now we have, like, these motherfuckers, they mean business. They're saber rattling right now. Like, we're not talking buffalo sabers. We're talking fucking real fucking things out there. So they seeking vengeance because Hezbollah military chief was killed, as well as the Hamas leader. This was in Tehran.
Is this a crazy story or what? This story about how that guy was killed is insane. Have you heard the story?
Yes. And that shows, like, these guys are going to fucking there's a potential these guys could fucking retaliate. To have something like this happen on your own soil, you're not going to let this go, because you're going to have to at least there's the opportunity of showing some strength here and say, look, we're not going to let this happen again.
The tweets are pretty nuts. Like, it's talking about unprecedented responses over the next,
48 hours or something.
I think by Wednesday. I mean, are they using the Outlook like scheduling assistant when they're deciding when to drop the bomb? Like, it looks like you're unavailable Tuesday and Monday. What about, is Wednesday a good day to start a war with you?
Well,
it looks like you have some availability before lunch. Is that too? Do you need a bio break in between that meeting and the war? Let me know. Please respond. Thank you. Talk to my executive assistant. Let me know.
But it's gonna be translated too from Arabic. Or Farsi, sorry, Farsi into.
You're giving it away. You're giving it away.
So, yeah, diplomacy is now long gone. I think we got to and the only person that may have been able to do this would have been the Iron Sheik, but that guy is now long gone and enjoying the 72 version.
What about Sheik Roberto? Is he up to a task like this?
He's now a motherfucker. I'm not sure if you heard about this, but he's on the NFT bandwagon.
Is he?
He's doing ordinals, right?
No, too bad.
Yeah. So insta unfollow, fuck him. He can make his money there, but I'm never gonna mention him again. Fuck that prick. Anyways, there's the story floating around that Israel may even do a preemptive strike. Cool. So that
hope you got your LMT shares sitting in your TFSA, because I tell you what, someone's got.
You're not gonna get it out. Your TFSA is locked. You think you're gonna be able to get your shit out of there? You know they're gonna close all these accounts, stop trading and shit like that. The only thing that's going to still be traded is Bitcoin. I can trade peer-to-peer Bitcoin and no problem. That the network is still going to run as long as you have one miner out there. And
possibility for sure, buddy. I'm with you on that. That's definitely a chance.
There's so many variables out there that we're getting closer to World War III. But you know what? In my regard, like for me, I'm too old for a draft, so I could look in the sidelines and watch what's going on. So
am I too old? What is the limit? I mean, Len, have you seen the Ukraine war? They're dragging guys older than you to the front line to the meat grinder there. Don't get carried away.
By the time that happens, I will take care of business. But no, in previous wars, it was 18 to 45 was the age in which they conscripted.
Wait a minute. When you say take care of business, are you talking like leave the country or like self-checkout?
I'm not going to say what.
What are we talking about here?
I'm not going to say what, but if push comes to shove, right? Like, knock on the door. What do you mean there's nobody home? San Salvador. What? What's going on? So let's get closer to home, because with all this shit going on, we have markets imploding too, not just abroad, but also domestically. And, we have this pending global war, XY dominating XX in the boxing realm. We have the US. It's true, right? We have the US out there, the strongest military in history. They are a controller of the US dollar. That's the strongest currency in the world. And one can make an argument that they're without a leader.
Yep.
Right? Like, think about this. Like, the dude in charge is on his way out. The second in command wants to be the person in power, but
she can't. The last thing you want is to go into war and have Kamala Sutra running the fucking show. Like, it would be a fucking disaster. Can you imagine the press conferences? Just unbelievable. It'd be a fucking mess.
Well, to her credit, she's trying to be the person in charge, but there's still some hoops that need to be jumped, and she's got to jump through them in order to get there. So, if I'm looking at it, you either have person A or person B that's going to be leading. And person B was almost assassinated not too long ago. And even though my Google searches didn't show up, I saw what happened in the news, right? So all this to say is the economy, it's still growing strong, Jack. Like, every time I listen to the guy, I'm always comforted the fact that things are going. Sure, you may not be able to buy tomorrow's food, right? Your emission-friendly car might have a check engine light.
Here's why that's a good thing.
I think that's a very good thing. Mine has been going on for decades now. The house that you want to buy, it's been bought by BlackRock. That's long gone. So now you're going to be fucking renting forever. The orange guy is supposed to tank the economy. Was supposed to go to war, but he's not even in power. And this shit's going on right now, right? Like, whatever. The fucking economy. The U.S. jobs are at the lowest level since 2021, and it's been trending downwards for 23 straight months. So jobs created by the private sector have been slowing down. Why does this matter? These are jobs that are created simply for economic needs, and it's not generally impacted directly by government spending. And that's a good metric. You look at what the fuck's going on with the economy, what's going on around you. The economy is going bad. War is imminent. The markets are crashing. But yet, we sit here, we're doing the show. What are we doing? We're talking about Bitcoin. I love it. It's all about Bitcoin.
Eating nachos, talking about Bitcoin. Listen, I don't know what to say about any of this stuff except just strap in. Like, we were talking before the show, okay, about just how nuts everything seems, and how like everything is kind of just someone is agitating someone else everywhere you look, whether it's this, person with an XY chromosome. I mean, are they saying like being a male is a rare blood disease now? Is that what I'm seeing online, that having an XY chromosome, you can still be a woman?
I don't know, man. Like I just know one is beating up the other.
All I'm doing is asking. And the reason I'm asking is because I think that what you're seeing, to your point about the Google search and all this other stuff, is an intentional obfuscation of the facts. It's happening everywhere. You know, these screenshots. QTR had a good one, actually. I can't remember where else I saw a few good ones, but his was good from last week. You can type in Trump assassination and get Kamala Harris campaign news in your results and nothing about the Trump assassination. Try and find that picture. Let's try it right now. Let's have a good time. Let's go to Google.
Did you see the truck you got, by the way?
I did, from Aiden Ross. I got to watch that stream. Apparently it's really good. Pablo from Bull Bitcoin was saying the stream was fucking awesome. I gotta watch it.
The clip was funny when you got the truck. As
a side note, Kamala Sutra could never do that. Okay. She could never hang with a streamer without a script for an hour and just, bullshit back and forth. Couldn't do it with Bryson DeChambeau. Couldn't do it with a streamer. Couldn't do it in a crowd. Certainly couldn't do it with a hostile media, though she'll never have to worry about that, thankfully. Trump assassination. Let's see. Trump assassination. Here we go. The top result. Trump baselessly blames assassination attempt on Democratic messaging from one day ago. Attempted assassination of Trump, blah, blah, blah. There's no pictures about this. And then basically the second tranche of results. The interview, Pete Buttigieg thinks the Trump fever could break. What we know about the assassination attempt, blah, blah, blah. There's not much here in terms of photos. It's largely being memory hold. Like, where's the picture? Doesn't everyone just want to see the picture? If I go to images, do I get the picture? Thank God, at least that's still there. But the what is that line from 1984? The last instruction from the state was to ignore what was right in front of you and believe them instead. Something like that. Something to that effect. It's happening all over the place, man. And I don't know. I just enjoy the ride at this point,
Yeah,
we're in so many good group chats with so many, fun people we really like and have gotten to know over the years through the show, and everyone's on the same page. It's like finding your tribe. Here we go. Boom Dust in the chat. Zero hedge. Let's put it up. Circuit breaker triggered for Nikkei 225 futures. Nikkei futures trading suspended after touching upper limit. We are having a time. Let me tell you, we are having a time. Now they're limit up, Len. What's going on over there?
When was the last time Bitcoin had a circuit breaker trip? Because the price went up or down. I don't know. I'm still waiting for that answer.
Okay, can you guys stop trading now? Anyway, what other stories we got?
Let's
hit another story. Let's get notable here.
Well, Pentagon, they found another $2 billion that could be used to help Ukraine. I'm not sure if you saw this one. So this is latest because it's due to an accounting error more than anything. And last year we talked about something similar. $6.2 billion was found last year in June, and that was due to another accounting error.
Where do they find it? Like it's behind someone's desk? What's going on?
For example, like 10
vehicles. Is it a check? An unsigned check? They
forgot. No. It's the way in which they value stuff that has been sent or not sent. So this time around, 10 vehicles, for instance, were incorrectly valued at $7 million compared to the zero net book value that it actually has, according to that. So it's all just accounting stuff, right? The truck may exist, it may be there, it may still work, but it's valued at zero.
Oh man.
Right? So that's really how it is. There's going to be some more that's going to be sent over, and yeah.
This cup has water in it. It should have vodka, honestly, for these stories. Someone explained to me how, he's just a little drinky poo. Someone explained to me how these guys are to be taken seriously anymore. Explain it to me. What am I to make of all this? Couple billion here, you can't afford food, of course. Yeah, definitely not. Oh, I mean, the healthcare system is broken. Entitlements are done, toast, finished, boiling on the side of the road.
But the good thing is, like, what they're giving is, I mean, the good thing. Some people have the notion it's money that's being sent over there. It's not. It's really just supplies, and there's a value of ammo or equipment or shit like that. That's what's really being sent over for the most part.
Yeah.
So, and that's what when we're sending over X amount for aid. That's the aid they're sending over. So, and what they could do then, they can replenish the supplies here because that stuff is near end of life, and they could get some new equipment and just replace it. It's kind of an easy way to do it. I'm not trying to justify it, but that's essentially what is.
It's all just a tax write-off, buddy.
It's just creative accounting, but still, instead of, I guess, selling it or surplusing it somehow and recouping it, or maybe even scrapping it and using some of the parts, they're not doing it. It's being sent over to the war to be used over there, and that's essentially how it's being done. So, if on the surface it looks funny that they just found $2 billion, but again,
funny is one word that you could use. Yeah, there's some other ones, but funny is one of them. Yeah, looks funny. All right. Yeah, it looks pretty funny.
Let's go to Chicago.
Looks notable. That's what it looks like.
Let's do it CBP Chicago style here, because Chicago keeps delivering, right? And I before we go there, since we're talking Chicago, big congratulations to Steve Mongo McMichael for being selected to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Unfortunately, ALS, it's taking a hold of him. He looks
terrible picture, but really a nice moment for his family, I think.
Yeah. But anyways, back to the story. This is about a gentleman by the name of Sean Hill, not the former defenseman for, I think he played for Anaheim, but this is just a random dude in Chicago named Sean Hill, 54-year-old guy. This guy was arrested 75 times since 2015. 75. Nice. But in his mugshots are world class. Like one of them, he's smiling. Another one, he's giving a thumbs up. So it's really good stuff. But I don't want to poke fun at him, but rather the system. And there's a reason why. Because the police department described him with untreated mental health issues, and they have his hands have even been mangled by frostbite. He's been out in the cold. Chicago's notoriously cold in the wintertime. So it's a sad story over here, but a guy that needs help, but probably won't get it. Not because, I don't know if he's trying to get it, like, or seek out the help, but it probably doesn't even exist, given that everything is stretched so thin. But last week, Mr. Hill was caught by the police for theft. They processed him. For whatever reason, they decided to release him. I guess because it was a misdemeanor. Anyways, less than 2 hours after release, arrested again for assaulting a 39-year-old. This shit just keeps going on. There's so many people like this in this situation that they have mental health problems, and for whatever reason they can't get. That's him. And I don't want to poke fun at him. Like the guy, he's got mental health issues, and he's got frostbite, like on his hands, fucked up his hands. So this guy's in a bad state mentally and physically. And you know what? There's a lot of people like this, and it's going to just grow, and it doesn't help out the environment, because this guy goes out there, assaults somebody, and then that person now is traumatized, and this shit just spirals out of control. Why? Because you know what? They're spending money on everything, and there's not enough that could go for people that actually need it, which is too sad.
I have no additional comment to this. We've talked about this so many times that the state has so few really legitimate, necessary responsibilities to the people it governs. One of them is, broadly speaking, public safety, and they can't do it. They can't do it. Look at some of the videos, like without getting into the sort of nitty gritty of the videos from Birmingham in the UK today. Does that look like a state that's able to ensure public safety? Chicago, this guy getting arrested 75 times in 7 years or 8 years. Does that look like a state that can enforce and protect public safety? Either they can and they're not, or they can't. And, pragmatically, it's the same thing. And you got to ask yourself, like, you're paying taxes to this stuff.
Yeah.
What are you getting for it? What are you getting for your taxes? Chicago's one of the most dangerous places in the country. Zero Hedge every weekend tweeting about how there was, 30, 40, 50, 100 shootings in Chicago over a weekend.
It's always the case there. Yeah.
Yeah.
But man, like guys like Sean Hill, like I feel bad for it. What's it like? I can kind of guess what's going to be the outcome for him, which is, I hope I'm wrong, but just I've seen this story play out so many times. It's a human being, man.
Yeah.
Right. Like this is somebody that was born was a child and
guy needs help. Needs help.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just not there. And
he's like, we are paying for him to get that help, and he's not getting it. Instead, he's a menace in the neighborhood.
Yeah. That's sad reality. And
but
let's move to California quickly, because
Mayor Brandon Johnson of Chicago. You're welcome on the show anytime. Talk to us
anytime.
Anytime.
Does it $200 for?
I'll give him 200 if he wants $200 to come on. He can. I'll do it.
But that's for beautification.
He can give the taxpayers back whatever he's spending on beautification, right? Because he had a budget for that too. You may remember.
Is that the going rate? Because did the rate go up because of inflation? Because it was $200 at one time. I
don't know. I have to ask.
We have to find out.
Ask the person in question.
Directly or indirectly.
Send him an email.
That's
no comment. No comment.
California, they're losing another big company. And Chevron, well, they had their headquarters based in San Ramon, California, and it's now leaving that for Houston, Texas. And the company expects all corporate functions to migrate to Houston over the next 5 years. And the reason for this is because they're seeking a laxer, more business-friendly regulatory environment. So that's why they claim to be leaving California for Texas. And this move comes after Elon Musk publicly said he wants to move X and SpaceX to Texas. So that's another couple of big companies that may consider moving too. But either way, for the Chevron story, it's approximately 2,000 employees in the San Ramon area. That's a stone throw away from Oakland. And presumably a lot of them are well-paying jobs. So you have the loss of employment, loss of corporate taxes coming in, personal taxes that are going to be paid for when people work, employees that probably won't be spending as much money. There's a whole bunch of things that just spiral out of control here. And you know what? They'll have to figure out a way to make up the lost revenue somehow. Not to say that Chevron's probably bringing in a great deal, but it's just another one and just another one. Eventually, it's like, holy fuck, it's then noticeable. And there's a lot less money coming in. What do you do? I don't know. What a disaster.
You're not surprised by this, though, are you?
Well, no. I was surprised the fact that Chevron had their headquarters in California. I would suspect it would have been in Texas all along.
That's fair. It's to me, it's just another sign, right, that you're seeing really legit brain drain now. There's not really much debate about whether or not people are staying in these places anymore. You know, famously, I shouldn't say famously because it just happened, but Jason Calcanis, who's one of the all-in guys, who's a big at least he was. I think he's actually starting to shift to the right because even he can't justify some of the insane policies in California. He's been a liberal politically, at least in the 2 or 3 years I've been listening to that show, probably before that as well. And he just announced publicly, and actually the guys on No Agenda covered it too, that he's leaving. He up and left for Texas. He bought a bunch of acreage on a horse farm, and he's just done with California. He's like, I'm not going to stay here. I can't raise a family here. As much as I like the area, I like the idea of California, the idea of Los Angeles, whatever, San Francisco, pick your city. It's just not what it needs to be to facilitate growth, either professionally, personally, or some mix of the two. And when you see these other companies doing this, Elon, he's a bit of a cult figure, but do you think that guy can drive emigration from a jurisdiction? I think he probably can, business-wise for sure. And those companies like Chevron, SpaceX, Twitter, whatever, they employ, I don't know, a couple hundred people, let's say 1,000 people. Is that many people?
Chevron alone is 2,000.
Yeah, I meant Twitter and SpaceX, but yeah, Chevron would be a much bigger one for sure. So let's say between those 3 companies leaving, you drag out 3,000 people, 4,000 people max. Okay. That's not a huge hit necessarily in like pure bottom line numbers, but that's a lot of trickle down. It's a couple less sandwiches every week at the store. And so the thefts make a bigger difference and all these things. And as that starts to happen, the effects are cumulative and compounding on other members of that small economy. And everyone makes the same decision because at the basis of economics, regardless of whether you're Keynesian or Rothbardian or whatever, every person in an economic system is at their core a rational actor, and rational actors always make rational decisions. It's just a matter of when. And the longer we go, the more people will make that decision because it becomes undeniably rational. And, in some cases, Len, it's like your personal safety, not necessarily economic well-being that becomes the principal concern. It's going to continue. I look forward to seeing what California is going to be like in a few years. I think we'll be doing a lot less stories about companies leaving California and more stories about like roaming gangs of homeless fentanyl zombies taking over small communities. That's my prediction. 3 to 5 years from now, that'll be the bulk of the stories.
No, they'll run out of companies that are going to be leaving. So eventually we will not have any more stories to talk about.
Yeah.
And Boomdas is saying the Nikkei is up 8% in pre-market. I can't
Unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
So, you know what the funny thing is? It had its biggest drop in one-day history.
57 years. There hasn't been a drop that big.
And now that's probably going to be the one-day increase in all its history.
maybe, yeah.
And you know what? In a week's time, nobody's even thinking about what just happened.
I'll be ready with the next round of memes for the next.
No, I'm not talking about we remember. I'm talking about the normies out there. It's like, oh, you know what? 2 days it wiped each other out, and it were net, zero net gain, which is whatever. But what the fuck? Like, how close is this to like just fucking toppling over? The confidence people have, it's not there. And this thing is just all fake, and it's all levered up to its tits.
I love it. I'm a huge fan of this stuff for content. I was talking to Kenzie last night. She was at the cottage, and I was here at home just like watching this thing implode. And every time I talk to her about like the economy imploding, she's like, just don't watch it. It's like, obviously if it's going down, like don't watch. I'm like, I have to. The content is just unbelievable. The memes. And I sent Mark and you that meme of the guy. He's like, are you ready for the economic collapse? And then the Pepe responding, I have so many memes saved. Like,
did you catch the economic collapse last night?
Yeah, I just got all the memes ready. Like, what am I going to do? I don't care. Thankfully, I don't have to sell anything I own, like stuff I'm not planning on touching for a decade or longer. It goes down by 20%. I don't really care that much, but the memes are fucking awesome. It's good to be a Bitcoiner.
Bitcoin dropped how much in the past couple of weeks? 15%?
From 70 to 49 in the last like month or so.
That's not over 20%.
Weeks. That's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's like 30-40%. Yeah.
So that happens in a very short period of time. You know what? We just fucking
who cares?
In the shop, right?
Who cares?
But this happens in TradFi. People are fucking jumping off.
I know. They're committing seppuku or whatever in front of their laptop.
Yeah, it's the job. But here, like we can see this. It's like, what the fuck?
Let's talk about how bad things are going in Chicago instead.
Let's talk about it, then we'll go for a walk to the store.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like, it's funny because it could happen in Bitcoin. We don't give a rat's ass. But CNE, we'll talk about that quickly. Not sure if you saw this.
Of course,
the
I
Canadian
did.
National Exhibition for people.
So opens next week, right? 2 weeks, best 2 weeks of the summer. Everyone says.
Yeah, interesting food is usually on sale over there. So they're hiring for people. This is for a very short period of time. And somebody posted on Twitter X a video of people that were lined up over there to apply for jobs. And it was estimated around 3,000 to 5,000 people showed up in person that queued up to submit an application. They say in total around 36,000 plus people submitted applications to get a job over there. That's a small town worth of people for applying for just a 2 week job, right? I guess it's just anyways, gate attendants, info guide, midway staff, food handlers, cashiers, retail associates. That's what they're hiring for. So, entry level, low paying jobs. And I don't know how many jobs out there that are going to be filled. Like in terms of the people applying, it's 10% conversion rate. I don't know what it is, but either way, they should have done something to keep the people occupied in time. Maybe they could have had Olivia Chow dancing and doing something as a way to maybe just give them something to look at. I'm not sure, but either way, they dropped the ball on the entertainment value. But what are your thoughts on this whole story?
Where do I start? Let's talk first about the number of people applying for those jobs. As unemployment in the country continues to rise faster than immigration, which obviously tells you that we're not getting jobs for all the immigrants come in, clearly. Canadian GDP per capita fell below $50,000 US last week. So we are now, thanks to these policies, the same policies that, land you with 34,000 largely immigrants applying for jobs at CNE. We're on par now with states like Alabama, Kentucky, West Virginia, some of the poorest American states out there in terms of productivity and GDP per capita. We're on par with them. So this idea that, Canadian economic policy is quote unquote working is wrong, demonstrably so. In fact, it's going the opposite way. There's something to be said about the idea that the economy here is one that's benefiting most Canadians in terms of like job availability as well. We can talk about, the sort of immigrant population. It's an easy target, but the sort of more important target, I would say, is that for the first time, basically ever, we have, I shouldn't say for the first time ever, for the lowest, the current set of data, we have the lowest employment rate for 15 to 24-year-olds ever, basically at this point in Ontario. So you're seeing these things all kind of come together. CNE is a symptom. Unemployment rate from 15 to 24-year-olds is a symptom. GDP per capita, a symptom. And the problem, I think, is the growth policy that we have. There's a guy on Reddit who made an LMIA map. It's at lmiamap.com. And it's every business who applied and was successful for getting an LMIA, a positive LMIA assessment in 2023 and 24. And Len, let me tell you, there are a fuck ton of businesses, okay? Some of these are insane, all right? 8,000 positions in the GTA approved just in the last quarter under LMIA. This is the low wage, government pays a bit, you pay a bit subsidy for I don't want to call them low wage workers, but they are. They're generally foreign workers who are working at low wage jobs. You know, you can't really slice it any other way. Hate to break it to you, but that's the way things go. Couple of notables here. 8 approved positions for McDonald's on Plains Road in Aldershot. Do you think Aldershot McDonald's has a hard time finding like Canadian staff members, Canadian applicants? I doubt it. 3 approved cooks at Earl's at Mapleview Mall, another place I doubt it's hard to find good staff. Harvey's at 3500 Dundas Street East apparently needed to hire 10 people from overseas to cook and serve. Insane. Auto Spa on Appleby Line brought over 15, quote, specialized cleaners from overseas to vacuum fucking cars. What the fuck are we doing here? People are in food lines. There's 34,000 people, okay, applying for jobs at the fucking CNE to sell you funnel cakes and steal your money at the Midway. And this is where the LMIA jobs, this is a disaster, okay? And, you know, if I look at this list of grants, I got this from Table Salt on Twitter. There's a list of grants for people who are hiring newcomers. Advanced Pathways offers a wage subsidy to employers hiring quote unquote skilled newcomers. Scam. Environmental Foreign Talent Development Program is a federal program delivered by ECO Canada and offers funding to employers. The program provides funding of up to $15,000 for new permanent roles. Scam. Welcoming Newcomers Wage Subsidy Program. The Welcoming Newcomers Wage Subsidy Program provides employers in the electricity sector with wage subsidy to hire newcomers to Canada in full-time roles. The wage subsidy of 50% up to $10,000 to help newcomers come over to the workforce. Scam. Last one, skilled newcomer internships for bioeconomy, covering up to 75% of the employee's salary, up to $20,000. Len, say it with me. Scam. Scam. We don't need any of this stuff, okay? Somebody is making a fuck ton of money hiring these guys. Well, a bunch of people in a demographic that needs to find jobs to gain experience are at the lowest employment level in history, 15 to 24s. Does no one see this as an issue? I don't know. But the more data you look for, the more you just want to slam your fucking laptop and throw it into a fucking wall. Because
make sure it goes in the lake and there's Bitcoin on it. So then you
oh
can
my God,
say it's a boating accident.
I know. Now worse, from Ben Rabideau, okay? Immigration just passed climate change as the most important issue, or as one of the 3 most important issues in the coming election, okay? Or one of the 5, I should say.
Immigration did? Like
number 1 on the list of issues in Ontario, according to this survey. Housing affordability, inflation, healthcare. Immigration at 19%, climate change is 17%. So like we're barely making a dent. It's one of the things that really drives me nuts because I can clearly see there's a problem. People who look at the data can clearly see there's a problem. But when you ask yourself, man, who's still watching legacy media? The answer is fucking everyone else. And everyone else doesn't get it. They don't get it. They're talking about climate change. Whether you think that's important or not, it can't be in your top 5. If the food bank line is around the corner, if the CNE's got 35,000
they see it. I mean, come on, there's no way that this is.
They don't see it enough. It can't be 5th on the fucking list. 5th on the fucking list lands you another liberal majority.
You know why it may be 5th for a lot of people? Because there's other things that they'll say that's impacting them. So if the price of housing is gone up quite a bit, and it has everywhere in the world, not just Canada, that means then you have to pay more for it, and then so that's less money spent elsewhere. So other things. What was the other things you mentioned? So it was affordability with housing, climate you said was 17%. What was the
Let
other?
me go back and pull the chart up here. Top 5: housing affordability. Hold on, let me move this. Housing affordability, inflation, healthcare.
Inflation, okay, yeah, healthcare, yeah. So these are all things you could say because they impact your daily life, right?
For sure.
So
for sure. The thing is that if you look at all those things, what is the common sort of denominator between all 5? It's immigration.
It's regulation or policy driven.
Well, I don't. I mean, say whatever you want.
No,
immigration policy and immigration regulation is what's driving a lot of this stuff.
If
housing affordability specifically, the Bank of Canada, like, clearly saying, we talked about this last week, that there's no fix on the supply side. The demand side has to be addressed, and there's no willingness to do it. And so whatever, I'm going to keep rolling downhill here.
Let's just move on because there's
our buddy Mike Campbell. Just one other thing here to add to the CNE story, which I think is important. Globe and Mail headline: employers still turning to low-wage foreign workers in record numbers, according to the data, even as unemployment rises. All while the immigration minister, by the way, is saying that there needs to be a cap on foreign entries of all kinds, but it doesn't seem to be happening. RBC replaces Canadian staff with foreign workers. Axed employee blows whistle. Federal government investigating. What are they going to investigate exactly? Any idea?
I don't know.
I read you the grants. It's a rational decision for companies to do this as long as they're allowed.
The labor market
impact assessments. Yeah.
So it's there to try to fill a need, theoretically. Like, an employer has a job, they got to have it filled somehow, and they tried to have it filled domestically. They couldn't, so they're going abroad to fill it. That's theoretically the way it works. So maybe the system needs to be somehow revamped. I'm guessing.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it does. Yeah. Maybe, Len. I don't know. What do you think? You think it might be?
Hey, man.
There might be a need to reassess and revamp that system?
I'm sure they're in the process of figuring things out. But let's talk Conestoga really quick.
Oh, I love this one. When are we going to see fucking Warren Buffett announce a stake in Conestoga College? It can't be much longer. Lucrative business going on over there.
Yeah,
shout out to those guys.
Did you see the residences? Like how it's something like 15,000 people. Like they have on there. Like that's a lot. I mean, foreign.
Have you driven through Kitchener, like Tri-Cities in the last little while? I go to physio out there with a friend of ours. He's my physiotherapist.
The only time I go there is for the place where we all meet up, and which is
I go through there now like every 2 or 3 weeks. And let me tell you, the traffic there, Len, is worse than in Hamilton. It's worse than in Hamilton. There's just too many fucking people. There's too many. And if you look at Conestoga's bottom line, they need something over there. I don't know what it is, but maybe there's another thing that we could revamp over there too.
Listen, I just want to plug Innocente Brewery. That's the only reason I tend to go out there. I just want to give them a plug.
Okay, tell me about the Conestoga bottom line. This story is incredible.
Wow, quickly, it's $252 million surplus.
Yeah.
How?
They're a unicorn. They're a unicorn. Can you believe it?
They found the way.
Don't make me pull up the vegetable cutting video again. Don't make me pull it up. Do not make me pull up the video of the guy coming from India, 13,000 fucking miles, talking about how Conestoga taught him how to hold a knife. Don't make me pull up the video.
They print money over there.
Oh,
and they do it.
They're printing money, right?
That's it. That's actually it. They found the loophole. So I wish I could invest in Conestoga.
Making me knock over my coffee cup over here. I'm getting my blood pressure's going up too much at the end of the show. I'm not gonna be able to fucking sleep.
You didn't talk about the dancing video.
Oh my god, Olivia! She looks like she's a fucking Veld. Did she miss the fucking gate for Veld? She's trying to get to Eric Pride's, not the fucking Caravana parade. God, what a mess! And like 3 blocks away or 4 blocks away, there's a Hamas Palestine like anti-Jewish protest. Like, help it make sense. Make it make sense. What am I missing here? Accelerate.
I can't.
That's it. I mean, it's accelerate only. It's accelerate only.
Exactly.
Shaking her shit at the Caravana Festival while the city burns. All right.
I love it.
All right. Yeah. Sign me up. I'll be there next year. Mayor Chow, come on the show. Happy to have you. I'd love to talk to you about it. I'll come to your office and bring the camera.
The next election, she's going to win again. I can't. I don't know who's. I mean, at this point, I haven't heard a name that's saying, "Yeah, I'm going to run against her and give her."
Who wants to run that city?
I'm sure there's a lot of counselors that want to move up.
Oh fuck! I don't know. It's like getting a bump. it's almost like the Peter principle, right? Like getting a bump in responsibility because you've done something well to the point where you're not able to do the things that got you there in the first place. I think a lot of city councils are at that point, especially in big cities. Hamilton, I think, is there. Toronto is there. I don't know. There's probably other cities I'm not thinking of. Burlington might be there, but Burlington's not really the same sort of like, I don't know, what's the word? Shithole that Toronto's become over the last little while. It was just like a raging drug, homeless encampment problem, cost of living insanity. It's crazy. It's crazy. And like, listen,
a lot of that, I mean, I'm going to defend them here. A lot of this is not really, it's because the dollar itself was devalued. And
that's part of the problem. Yeah.
So they're just there to do other things. Granted, like, you could say, fine, property taxes have gone up. Okay, they are the ones administering it, but still everything has gone up. So that's going to have to go up accordingly as well. So they're just there to do whatever. So I'll defend them to a degree because they're not really the big slice of the problem. Maybe a small slice of it they could be attributed to it. One can make an argument, but the big of it, like, no, that's not them, man. They're just there, right? They're just there to make sure garbage is picked up. They're just there to make sure streets are plowed, shit like that.
Yeah, I put LMIA map in the chat. I'm not going to go to any of these businesses. You guys do whatever you want. I'm not going to go to any of these. If I can avoid it at all, I'm not going. Period. End of story. I said this the other day on Twitter that here in Dundas, I overpay for everything. Okay. Me and Mark went for lunch yesterday. It's an overpay. I go get a coffee. It's an overpay. I go to the store to buy like a shirt. I don't go to H&M or Uniqlo. I go to the place in town. It's an overpay. I go get a beer at the local brewery. It's an overpay. It's always an overpay. But the alternative is that these little shops close down and your community turns into a Century Initiative fucking freak show inside of 10 years. And the things that you loved about your community are destroyed by people who only care about extracting value from you and the people around you. They will do it at any cost. Any cost. Community is so important. And, it may be tempting to go buy that coffee from Tim Hortons for $1 or from McDonald's for $1.50. Don't do it. Brew it at home or go overpay once in a while for a coffee in town. Keep that barista employed. Keep that coffee shop open. Go to the local Indian restaurant. Go to the local Italian place. Go to the local food spot. Keep those people open. Because if you don't, the alternative is dire. It's dire. You see it everywhere. It's weed shops, cash advance places, and fucking Subways. Everywhere you look, if you don't keep those places running. So yeah, are you going to overpay?
Is Jared out of prison yet?
Pedo Jared, I don't know. Whatever happened to that guy? He's got to be doing a long sentence, right? Child porn, that's got to be a bad one.
He's been there for what, for like 10 years?
At least. Yeah.
So, I mean, he may be halfway there, depending on the sentence. I don't know much.
Yeah. Boomer saying farmers markets too, 100%. Like go to these things, man, and pay a little more. So what? You're not just paying for the product. You're paying for the community that you enjoy. That's the cost of the community. Yeah. Like if you don't go, even my wife overpays, I think, for like these pottery classes she does, right? She makes these like cups. She's pretty good, actually. Maybe if she sells some at Christmas, I'll tell you guys, you can buy one. But the thing is, like, if that little art school goes away, what replaces it? If that little coffee shop goes away, what replaces it? If the restaurant closes, what replaces it? You're not going to like it. You are not going to like it. You're going to wish you paid extra for the nachos, for the beer, for the whatever.
See, at the beginning of the show, you were knocking the choice of nachos. Now you're defending it. So you went full circle in the hour and 49 minutes.
Nacho flip-flopper.
Yeah. And with that, it's a good time to end it. So flip-flop in one particular issue. What would be the most important?
That's right. Listen, God bless all you guys. I appreciate you guys all listening, watching. I'm reminded about how great the community is on CBP when, we add a sponsor or get a good guest or something like that. It's really because you guys watch and listen, and the community around the show is important to us that we're able to do the things we do. So thank you again. Thanks for tuning in. See you tomorrow with Kevin Muir. Len, you want to say anything before we sign off? I know you do.
Don't be a cock.